won't be long, but it will be powerful. It will be something that you can take and start applying these principles today, uh, from your very first person that you talk to or your very first client. So we're gonna talk about getting more, closing more, and getting more referrals. Okay, closing more and getting more referrals. First off, we're going to talk about three different types of closes that work. Simple, but they work. Simple, but they work. And at the end, you can ask questions. If you are a leader, you are more than welcome to make interjections to add to this, because I know there are leaders that are on the call that have other things that they've used to close individuals or to get referrals. I know that there's others that are online that probably have a lot better training than probably what I'm going to do tonight. But this is for those who want just a basic simplified start of closing and also getting referrals. So first off, with the three types of closing, we're going to talk about this first, the assumption close, right? So whenever you're closing a client, whether it's for a policy, whether it's for, a new agent coming on board, you have to assume. It's the assumption close. It's assuming that they're going to buy, and that the last thing that they have to do is just choose options. So when you finish your presentation, automatically assume that that person is going to get that policy. Don't go to the backside and say, well, I didn't do a good presentation, or that I didn't give them enough information, or you start beating yourself up for, when they're looking and they're scratching their top of their head, or they're, twiddling their thumbs, and they feel like they haven't gotten enough information to really for you to close on. And maybe that's why they haven't closed, is because they just don't have enough information. When somebody says no, that doesn't mean no forever. It could be no for right now. It could be a temporary no. It could be a maybe. It could be a very strong possibility, but I'm not sure. So never assume that the close that you're done when you're done. Whenever you're done with the presentation, it's really not done yet, right? You have to close them. Okay, so you're gonna assume that they are going to go ahead and write that policy up. And I'm going to give you a few examples of things that you can say in that assumption close. The second one is the think about it close. So you have to find the real objection behind that stall. What am I thinking about? And this is again where you're reading body language, you're reading how they're responding to you, you're reading everything throughout the presentation. You're reading this. And so when they get to that, I got to think about it. Chances are you may not have covered all the bases, and this is not a slight against you. It just may be a slight against the client, because maybe they didn't hear something that you said that was very important during the presentation. And so they're thinking about it, because there's like, I don't know if I have all the pieces together yet. And then the third one is really common, is the spouse close. Now you find this spouse close happening from the beginning sometimes. Sometimes when you talk to a person and they're reluctant to make a decision, whether even to make an appointment with you. Oh, let me see what my wife is going to say. Oh, let me see what my husband's going to say. Right away, they bounce to their spouse. And is that a bad thing? Not necessarily, because it's good for couples to make decisions together, and especially decisions as large as like getting a life insurance policy, or getting an annuity, or getting a policy for their child, or mortgage protection, or something that they're needing, a trust, a will. They're going to want to talk to their significant other. And so you have to factor that in when you're starting to talk to someone. Is that the decision maker? Do you make decisions together, right? And even if they don't, and who's the dominant person? That's really the one that you want to be in front of. You don't want to be in front of the person that's got to go to the other person to make sure that decision is made. Matter of fact, it's better to have couples sit down together. So we're going to talk about those three things. So the assumption close goes something like this. This is just a general script. The client says, this looks good. They like what they heard. So automatically, you're already getting ready to write the policy. You're pulling out the application. In the old days, it pull out papers. No more papers, but you're opening up your screen to the first page of when you start putting their information in. Whether it's on Zoom, whether you're in person, you're like, you got them on Zoom. Hey, I'm pulling it up right now, and we're going to get ready to start taking your information down right away. So a sample script, again, perfect. Let's get this application started. Do you prefer the $500,000 policy, or do you prefer the $750,000 coverage? Which one's better for you? Right? You're assuming that they're going to they're going to close the deal. You just assume. And if they start backing out, of course, then we got to start working on, handling objections. But we're going to assume at first. Why does it work? Because you're assuming they're buying and they're choosing between options. They're making a choice. I think I like the 500,000 one better. Okay, great. We got that one. And you're typing up. You're getting them ready. Now, I want to open the floor up at this point. If anyone knows of another good way, right, to handle that, to do the assumption close, I want you to share with everyone that's online. You can come off mute. We're a community. We're a family. If you're new here, guess what? This is who we are. You get a taste of our culture. But if anyone has any other suggestions on the assumptive or the assumption close, I want you to go ahead and make interjections at this time. Or any questions? All right.
Hey, Pastor Eddie, I have one.
Yes,
one
sir.
thing that this is Craig. One
Okay,
thing that
Craig.
you could do is ask, when you're ask for those beneficiaries, who would they like to be their beneficiary? So after the presentation, that will be one of the first questions that you ask, is the beneficiary of those policies. So you're assuming that way by getting those beneficiaries.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
Welcome.
That's good. So again, you're closing them, and beneficiaries is a part of the application because you have to put that in there. So if they're moving forward, you want them to provide that information to you. I see you, Shalonda. Go ahead.
I do that as well. I tie my assumptive close to their why. So, for instance, if they're wanting to leave legacy to their beneficiary, which do you think that Tony would prefer? 500,000 will help him pay that house off, like you suggested, but 750,000 will give him the opportunity to pay off the house, like we discussed, and leave some money for his kids to go to college. So tying it to their why and giving them options, because we're emotional people, and so are
Mm-hmm.
our clients.
Thank you so much. That's so true. And people do purchase on emotion, especially when they see it right in front of them. A lot of times when we're doing presentations or we're presenting illustrations to someone and they start seeing the numbers and they start seeing that, the realness of it, they get a little bit caught up in it and they get emotional about it. So you're automatically moving them to the next step. You're not even thinking that, okay, I'll come back next week or I'll talk to you in a day or so. No, if they want to move forward with them. All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is the think about it close. So the client, you get to the end and you're done with the presentation. You've showed them everything. You've answered all their questions. And they still say, I need to think about it. Anybody had that happen to them? If you've had that happen to you, you just say, woohoo, yeah, say something. Like if you've ever had that happen to
Oh,
you, I'm going to
yeah.
think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Thousands of times it's happened to us, right? Thousands. Like, oh, let me think about it. We got them on the hook. It's like a fish dangling there, and they're ready to. They already bit the bait, and they're on the hook, and they're dangling. They say, I have to think about it. It's like that fish jumping off the hook, jumping back in the water, and trying to catch them back again is a little more difficult. So, again, one of the scripts. Again, this is open form. I want feedback. I want other people to interject that have had this happen to them. What did you do? How did you overcome this objection? How did you get past it and get to the next point? So one of the scripts that you could use is, I appreciate that. Let me ask you, when we started this presentation, you said protecting your family was important to you. Is that correct? So you bring back their pain points. You bring back their ultimate goals. You bring back whatever it was that they may have said maybe 5 or 6 times during your presentation when you ask them the question. They keep going back to it. I want to make sure little Johnny has, and then I want to make sure little Susie is taken care of for college. I want to make sure whatever that is, you should have been taking copious notes, right? You got to be taking copious notes so that you can bring these things back. So I appreciate it. Let me ask, when we started, you said that protecting your family was important. You said that protecting your home was important. You said that making sure that Susie had an inheritance was important. Has anything changed since the time we started? And that's really like just put them in the corner, because they're the ones that said those things were important to them. Now you're just bringing back up to them what they said to you, and you're saying, has anything changed since that? Or is this about the premium, the coverage amount? Is it something else? Right? You're trying to get to the real objection. You're trying to uncover what is really holding them back. The think about it close is not always, I just want to think about it. It's something else that they did not reveal to you that's important to them that you may not have covered during your presentation. So it could be something else, and you want to find out, and eventually as you dig deeper and deeper, they're going to tell you what the real objective is. And when they do, you address it. We have to address it directly. We have to be like, well, I understand that, you don't want your money coming out on the 1st. Sometimes it's just a matter of the day of the month. I've had people say, I think about it, because they didn't, we're doing a presentation on the 3rd, and they're thinking, I got to pay today. I got to give money today. That's an assumption that a lot of clients, I'll say some clients have, not everybody, but some clients assume that I got to pay something today to get this thing started. And then we go down the whole road of the process, and they go, oh, really? I can choose a date. Oh, it's a piece of cake. Let's do it. Right? Sometimes it's just a matter of letting them know they can choose their date. All right. I see you, Miss Amy. Go ahead.
Yes. Another thing, basically, that question is, the bottom line is, I need more information. And that could be, as you were describing, was digging deeper. Um, and doing so, um, I would pertain, after trying to get the information that you just spoke of, I would also ask them, do they know who their pallbearers are going to be when they pass away? And maybe that's what they got to think about. Who is going to be their beneficiary? Who's the one going to be taking care of the funeral? Who's going to be taking care of all the expenses and stuff? So
Mhm.
maybe there's something happening in a relationship where they may not ask their spouse to be the beneficiary, because maybe they're talking divorce or something, but you don't know it. So
You
you
don't know
really
it.
don't
Yeah,
know other family members that they may be considering for that.
that is true. Yeah, and that is so true. Thanks for sharing, because I think about it and that's why we say you have to get to the real objection. I think about it is like there's something else that I'm not sure about. There's something else that I don't want to make this decision right now because of whatever that something else is. And so our job as an agent is to find out what that is and to address that, to let them know, hey, this is the solution for that problem that you have in the back of your mind. And once you show them that you have the solution, the chances of them moving forward are much more higher. Okay. So, anyone else that want to share anything about the I need to think about it? All right. All right. Let's talk about the spouse close. The spouse close. So a client says you get, and really, if you've done a presentation without really finding out that husband and wife make decisions together, and I know there's a lot, I've done presentations where the husband says, hey, I handle all this. I'm the guy, I'm the final decision. And then when we get to the end, they go, hey, I need to talk to my wife. I'm like, okay, didn't you say you made all the decisions? so really you try to get, preclude this in the beginning. This is the best way is to preclude it in the beginning. Hey, it'd be great if to have you and your wife or you and your husband on the Zoom, or we meet all three of us together so that they can be in on what's happening. It's not just catching them by surprise. I think that they would appreciate that, don't you? Like, yeah, they probably would, right? And then you kind of preclude, you kind of knock the spouse close out. You don't even need it. But in the event that you do have this happen to you, maybe a spouse is in another state, maybe they're visiting family. There's a conflict of schedule. They can't get together when you have the time, and they say, hey, I want to get the information and share it with my wife or whatever, share it with my spouse. The client says, I need to talk to my wife first, or my husband first. So option one is you get them on now, right? Absolutely, that's smart. Let's get her on a quick call right now so I can answer any questions together. Is she available? That's like you're putting them on the spot. I need to talk to my okay, I got you. I think that's a great idea. Absolutely. That's smart. When you say that's smart, you're not saying that's smart. You're saying you're smart. That's a verbiage that you're using. That's smart. Well, smart people usually talk to their spouses first. You're basically saying you're smart. So you want to always be complimentary to your clients. Always. You never want to put them down. You never want to make them feel bad for wanting to ask a question or for wanting to take time or whatever. You never want to make them feel bad. You always want to make them feel like, they have buy-in. Because if they don't have buy-in, then when you do that policy, chances are they could back out of it. They still could back out of it, even within that 30-day window, that free look period. So absolutely, that's smart. Let's get her on a quick call right now, so I can answer any questions that you have with her together. Is she available? Oh, she's not available right now. Okay, not a problem. When would she be available? When can the three of us hop on so we can get these questions answered? And don't let them squiggle out. Oh, y'all get back to you next week. I'll get back. I like, yeah. Well, let me get with her schedule, and then I'll get with your schedule. No, let's put a tentative date in. Right? It could change. We know that it could change, but let's put a tentative date in. What does Thursday look like at the same time? Okay, for now it looks pretty good. Okay, let's pencil that in. Put it in your calendar. I'm gonna put it in mine. We're gonna meet Thursday, you and your wife, right? And we're gonna answer any questions you have. Then option two, again, is similar to option one, but great. When can the three of us meet? I have this time available. I have to give them 2 times. Find out which one's best for you. If neither of those times work, then say, then you go to them. Are you afternoon, evening, or morning, afternoon, or evening person? They say, I'm an evening. Then you give them your evening time that you're available. Because they said they're evening, but you have a calendar. Your calendar may not allot for them to meet with you at Friday at 5 because you have another appointment in that time. So you've got to give them the times that you're available. You remain in control of the whole conversation and the whole movement. So that's the spouse close. Does anyone want to make any interjections on the spouse close? If you had any experience with that, and if you have, share with the group what you did when you encountered that. Anybody? Okay. All right. So let's jump into referrals. When is the best time to ask for referrals? Anybody can answer that. When is the best time to ask for referrals? It's open-ended question. Anybody can answer.
I think that really depends on the person.
Okay.
I have been trying to train myself to do that in a indirect way where you're not actually asking for referrals, but what you're actually doing is asking the customer or the prospect that once you write the policy for them or whatever, and then you ask them whether or not they think that you doing business with you was valuable to them. And if so, you know, when you're asking who's their beneficiary, who's their children, and all that other, and then you say, let them know that you would like to get the names of those people because you need to contact them. Because if you don't, then who's going to call when something happens and they don't know where to get the money from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. And I know there's others on here that probably have some ideas because we're gonna get into this. There's a lot of different ways to. And thank you, Miss Amy. Appreciate that
You're
interjection.
welcome.
Shalonda, I do see your hand up. Go ahead.
I like, depending on the situation, like if I'm doing like a workshop or something, I like asking for those referrals when I get that person's information because sometimes that opens you up for an opportunity to do like a group session or invite people to a presentation together. And when it's informal, I think sometimes it works a lot better. They thank you for giving you their information and you say, yeah, who else do you
Hmm.
know that could use my services? Or do you have any siblings or do you have any business owners that could also use my services? So I think with any line of business, it works in your introduction.
Right. Yep. And I agree. I didn't put it on here, but what I do when I first meet with a client, when I first meet with them, could be a new client. It could be someone that I may have, um, a person that I may have done a policy for or with. But when I first meet with them, I automatically tell them if you like what you hear at the end of this, because I'm going to give you some fantastic, absolutely life changing information. Like you have to build yourself up bigger than life, right? So that they're anticipating getting something that they never had, they never knew. And so when you get that anticipation built up, what I do is I'm like, well, once I get towards the end of this, I'm going to be asking you for referrals. I just let them know that right off the bat. I'm going to be asking you for referrals. The reason that I'm going to ask is because I know the information I'm going to give you is going to be life changing. I know it's going to be something that you can use, and not only use, you can pass it on to your family and friends as well. And so I'm going to be asking you for referrals. The reason I'm going to be asking you for referrals is because that's how I build my business. That's how I build I get a lot of my new clients from clients that I already have because of the job that I do for them, because of the information that I share with them, because of the honesty and integrity that I have towards their policies and their desires. And you're building yourself up. You really kind of have to talk a little bit about yourself and make yourself like, I am the person that you're fortunate and blessed to have gotten me. When really we're thinking we're fortunate and blessed to have gotten you as a client. We have to do both ways, right? And so you can ask right up front. Just give them what I call a soft. It's kind of like a soft feeler. Would it be okay? If you like what you hear and you think it's valuable, I'm gonna ask you for referrals, and hopefully you won't reject me on that. Is that okay? And they're like, yeah, that's okay. So now they're already in their mind thinking, hey, I'm gonna give this guy some referrals or this young lady some referrals. So right after yes, when you have written that policy and you're done and you say congratulations on your new policy, you are now protected, or your application is done, we're moving on to the next step, we're going into underwriting, congratulations. Right then and there, ask for referrals. Hey Susan, hey George, hey Paula, do you know three people that could use the information that I gave you? Are there any? Do you know of anyone that could actually use this information? And they're thinking, say, well, think about it. This is what I want you to think about. I want you to think about family members. I want you to think about friends. I want you to think about somebody that's doing well, but they may not have what you have. And then have your pen and paper. I know you may be on Zoom, or you have your phone and have it open to the contacts and say, okay, what's the first name? what's the last name? Right? And then when they get it, there's a little trick here. When they give you the name, because a lot of people are reluctant to pass out their name, right? To pass out their name right up front. I see you, Miss Tiffany. Give me just a second. I'm gonna definitely let you chime in. But when you get that initial, you do that initial ask, they're kind of like, I don't know if I want to give the name out. I don't want to give that number out, right? They're gonna kind of pull back, right? And so when that happens, what you want to do is you want to set them up to really be able to um, to feel comfortable. You want to set them up to feel comfortable to give you that information. You want to set them up to feel comfortable to give you that information. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Miss Tiffany, go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and let you chime in.
Oh, I was gonna say I think anytime is a good time to ask for a referral. Sometimes when you notice that the client when you're talking and speaking with someone and they really like what you say and they're like, oh wow, that's some good information. You
Mm-hmm.
can see that their mind is churning, like, I know some people that need this too.
Yeah,
And you
true.
just gotta be intuitive and just ask for it. So I see your mind working over there, girl. Who else you thinking about? I know, someone else that probably needs these type of services.
Mm-hmm.
Please be sure, who hit your mind first? And
Mm-hmm.
they'll just tell you, well, listen, I would love to speak with your friend about this and help them or your family member. And then they're going to give you another name. And sometimes when I'm out, people hear over or, ear hustling in the conversation. And in my other business, I'm always out speaking loud so people can hear me. I want them to chime in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a salon and a lady followed me outside. I didn't even see her. And she said, hey, I heard you talking in there. My whole family needs what you have. Can I give you my number? And can I text you their numbers? Can we plan something to get together? I was like, yes. And
That's awesome.
she had this whole wild story of how her brother's wife had passed and the wife left the policy to her brother, not her husband, and the
Hmm.
husband. So the pastor didn't show up. Just a whole nightmare situation.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
it was their nightmare that sparked her interest in listening to what I had to say and saying, "Hey, can you help my family? We can't have that happen again. No pastor, no drivers, no
Wow.
escort." And our family was just totally embarrassed. And I want to make
Wow.
sure we didn't have that happen again. So there's no wrong time to ask for a referral, and
Right.
people will share with you. So if you are being sincere in what you're saying and your message, they're going to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
I had a call yesterday of a lady who wants me to speak in April from just out networking, and no one had spoken to her really about in depth about IULs. And I'm gonna wrap this up. She calls me again day before yesterday. She said, "Hey Tiffany, I'm having my private birthday party. I just invite my top 20 friends. Guess what, girl? You're on the list. I need you to also come talk to my friends about the insurance at my birthday party." So
Wow.
so
Oh,
Saturday, like she's
awesome.
like, so 20 people are gonna get the exposure, and she's like, and I'm telling them that you're my new agent, so we have to do her consult. And she says, and I want all of them to do business with you. So
Wow.
if we
That's
just
awesome.
ever know who that person is that's going to become your referral faucet, so to speak, that actually loves what you have to offer and wants to help you help change and empower the community.
Yep.
So don't
Yep.
leave a stone unturned. There's no restrictions on how you ask for a referral. It's just
Right.
about listening with your spirit, listening to the client, taking time to hear what they have to say, and then you'll know when it's okay to
Yep.
ask. And
Yep. Thank you so much. That's awesome. And you know what I find, and I see you, Miss Amy, we're going to get to you in just a second. You know what I find is that agents don't ask. They don't ask. And it's like, I don't understand why you didn't ask them for a referral. Well, I was nervous and they just seemed like they were kind of interested. Guess what? If you do a presentation, I promise you there's something in that presentation that person needed. Maybe they needed it 5 years ago. Maybe they needed it 2 years ago. Maybe they don't need it now, but it's like they needed it and they know someone who needs it as well. But if you don't ask, you don't get the opportunity to get referrals. You basically cut off. It's like one person could equal 20 people. You say, well, how does one person end up with 20? Well, you get that one person, and that one person gives you five, and you get one from each one of those five. That's already 20,
same.
15. Yeah, do math. Anyway, it exponentially can grow your business because every time you get one referral, that one referral can end up to be 3 to 5 new people. If you ask, you have to ask, right? You have to ask. All right, I see some hands popping up. Amy, you're first.
Another thing too, it's not that I don't ask for referrals. I love it, but they think that's natural. So the average person will like they're gonna put me on the spot and they're gonna ask me who do I know. That's I have had that happen recently, and I think that if the presentation first that you establish whether or not you want to work with that person wants to work with you. Okay, and once you establish that, and then you ask them to like make a commitment that if I give you, if I can find what can help you, if I can help you out, and help you accomplish your goals or whatever, then we have a commitment. And then once that commitment happens, then you know you're going to write the policy. And then you can just go through that part as you go. But then afterwards, it's like, and I don't advertise for money,
Mm-hmm.
any advertising whatsoever. So mine is basically word of mouth. So if you believe in what, that I just saved you so much money, because I think Jamie had a great um, selection right there where he told them, the people that they just got through writing a policy, and he says that would you want your family members to have, what I just delivered to you? And wouldn't you want to tell them? Wouldn't you want to refer them to me because I can help them too? Maybe not, as much or whatever, but the point is everybody's situation's different. But wouldn't if it's like if you just went to a store and you found a great sale of something that you actually needed and you bought it at a discount price and it's good quality, good value, wouldn't you want to tell your friends, hey, you need to go over here to buy this or whatever, or check it out, what they got. The same with the insurance. Why not, come to them? And that's why I mentioned um in the chat there about when you go to ask them if they have children, and it's a fact finder thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to find that information out, if there's no family members, they have no idea who they're gonna refer you to. They don't have any idea who they're gonna, they assume uh in general a beneficiary, but they really don't know of what all goes into that, what all you have to, and they need somebody to explain it to them.
That's true.
And so, and if they, and then once you do, a lot of them will say, you know what, I'm glad it's the first time somebody's ever actually explained this process to me. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and I let them know it's not just black and white like everybody thinks it is. It's more than that. But you have to be able to touch on the pain points like we mentioned before.
Right.
And then eventually, the more pain, the more gain is what they say,
Right.
is
Right.
what you'll get in return. And then that gives you more opportunities to help them, whether it's debt or whether it's, final expense or whether they want to do, an investment. But you
Right.
have to, but they have to be willing to trust you. But that factor of you wanting to know whether you can work with them and they can work with you, or whether there's going to be a good relationship there first before they'll give you referrals or anything, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Establishing that is the whole thing, even before the presentation, I
Yep.
think.
Yeah, of course it is. You have to build, and that's why I talked about building yourself up. You have to toot your own whistle. Like you can't you can be shy and timid, but you really need to build yourself up to let them know what you do, who you are, how you act, and how you conduct your business. When you tell somebody that, because they're not going to know by just looking at you. There's no way they're going to know that. So you got to let them know, right? And as far as referrals, I've been halfway through a presentation and I've had people say, I know somebody, kind of like what Tiffany said. I've been, before I even got started, when I said, hey, I'm going to be asking for blah, blah, they said, oh, I know a couple people right now. And I just said, okay, what are their names? I haven't even done the presentation yet. So there's no perfect matrix to, okay, now I've done the presentation. Now they've seen my integrity. They've heard about everything. Now they might possibly give me a referral. that referral can come at any point in time. It really can. And I've seen it
Well,
happen.
I
So
would give them, I'm sorry to interrupt. I would give them a piece of paper and a pen in the beginning before you even done your presentation. And then they can ask, what's the paper for? And then you could tell them.
that's a good one. That's a good one. All right, let's move on. Miss Yolanda, I'm going to let you chime in.
Just real quickly, in reference to what you said, I wanted to speak to that. I used to be shy and timid because I used to think that my service spoke for itself, coming from, the service side of
Right?
insurance. And it hit me one day really hard in the face because one of the guys, I called him because in the service industry, you do a survey and you ask for referrals then after their policy is delivered.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different on our side now. And so
Yeah.
I called him. Hey, I saw you filled out your survey, and I wanted to talk to you about the referral side of this. And he said, you know what, Shalonda, thank you so much for everything. You taught me so much that I didn't know before. I went to church and I told all my brothers there, and we have an agent in the church, and everyone signed up because I didn't ask for those referrals up front, right?
Right?
I
Yep.
educated him on something. He went and told everybody, and then that just gave milk to the agent that was there already.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if that agent was doing his job, I wouldn't have been able to got that guy from his church. And if I were doing my job, I could have kept all of the congregation. So you
Right.
cannot be a secret agent. That I
Yeah,
just
you
wanted to speak to
cannot.
that when you were talking about that. I used to think, well, if they love my service,
No, you
yeah,
can't.
they'll send me people. Nope, you got to toot your own horn. So thank you for saying that because you're absolutely right. That happened to me.
Yep. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And one of the things that I'll say too is a secret agent is a broke agent. A secret agent is somebody that ain't gonna get nobody on their team because ain't nobody know they doing business. They're not even opening their mouth. They're not making enough noise. That's something that I taught some of my team members. I said, if you're not making enough noise, like if you ever saw the what's the guy's name that does the Grinch, um, Dr. Seuss. So if you ever saw Dr. Seuss and the Whovilles, I guess it is. They have this little tiny city, and they're about to get smashed. They're about to get demolished, and they have to make noise in order to save the city. And so they get all the stuff that they can. They get all the loudest tuba players and they're blowing as hard as they can. Everything, they're clanging stuff together. And somebody finally goes, they hear them. They went through all that to make noise. And I'm making a point. If you have to make noise in your business as an agent. Yeah, what does noise mean? It means I'm gonna wear a shirt that says "Ask me about insurance." I'm gonna wear a hat, or I'm gonna wear a badge. I'm gonna wear something that's telling people I'm in business. And if I'm not blaring that out, if I don't talk to people around me when I'm at a grocery store and I don't say, "Hey, how you doing? It's a great day outside," or it's raining, or it's cold, or it's hot, or snow. It doesn't matter what it is. I start conversations and I tell them, I start making noise. This is who I am. Oh, this is what I do. The more you do that, the more success you're going to have. If you're a secret agent and you're just waiting for that right person, that right agent, that right client to come along, it's not going to happen for you. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not a negative person. I'm very positive by Nate. I just grew up. My mom drilled in me being positive, and so I'm not being negative. I'm just saying you have to make noise. You have to make people know who you are, what you do, and just let them know that. I've ran into people that literally didn't know, and I said something about an IUL, or I said something about annuities. I help with annuities. I help people reduce their taxes. I help people, get out of debt. Throwing stuff out that we do, and somebody said, "Really, man, I've been looking for that." And that was a client, and without even just because I blared it out of my mouth, they heard it and they responded, kind of like what happened with Shalana and with Tiffany, same thing. So I saw your hand up, Tiffany. I want to give you an opportunity again. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, no worries. I think, your question is when is it a good time to ask for a referral? As you grow the business, you know, when you're out and about and you're in a restaurant and you're talking to the waitress, when you're going through the drive-through, it's an opportunity. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if when we have when we're passionate about what we're doing, you know, my dad passed in March and it was a little bit hard for me to talk about final expense or, really just insurance. And but then I had to say, well, what would my dad want me to do? He's like, well, you gotta make this thing fun, Tiffany. Have fun while you're making money. Make this thing fun. How you're gonna help people grow. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like it's being very intentional to ask for the referral. It's being
Yeah.
intentional about wanting to help the people, whoever your audience is. Who are you talking to see them in a better place?
Mm-hmm.
So I asked one of my clients to start a networking event, team up to start a networking event to drive more traffic through her doors to get more customers because she's getting two policies, so her IUL, one for her child, and very, very excited about the position that's putting them in. So when you get a $200 policy on a child, you know how you're setting them up for success. So
Mm-hmm.
now we're going to start making that thing fun,
Yeah.
so these
Awesome.
kids are celebrating everything. So you want to have a party and celebrate that. So we're going to start some new stuff these services, because to take the weight off of it, because I don't want to talk
Mm-hmm.
about the side. I want to talk about the living benefits, you know,
Right.
how you win
Yeah.
from it, the wealth accumulation. So decide what that focus is that makes it easier for you to discuss with people when asking for the referral. Because I know when people were trying to talk to me 3 years ago about needs the needs business side of it, I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't trying to talk to those people because I was running from it, because I thought I was going to die earlier by having the conversation. So when you have
Mm-hmm.
that mental shift, right,
Right.
then you
Yeah.
ask for it because people say, well, gosh, everyone needs to know. How do we get it out there? So now it's like, okay, how am I going to be more intentional in my marketing for this, and being able to ask for the referrals? Even when we're talking to ChatGPT, asking the right question to ask for the referral to get to where we're trying to go. And I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
say that because of the tools and how we use them the best way, because if we can't think
Yeah.
of the right way to say it, we've got the tools around us that are available at a click, that are free to access, to help us build those presentations and these additional scripts when we're going
Yeah.
out and networking to get to that space and that place to get more policies. And I just wanted to share that as a hit,
Yeah.
because
Thank
it's
you.
it's not always an easy conversation, but you have
Yeah.
to think of it's about the bigger picture of
Yeah.
how do we have people being prepared? Would you rather your family member not know, and then something happens and you didn't say anything, and just a simple conversation of, hey, here's how you set your kids up, or they needed money for college and you never had the conversation, and then when it was time for that child to go to school, dad lost his job, something happened to the family, when you could have said, I could have had that conversation and have prepared them. So
Yeah.
we got to take on the responsibility of how we really want to help people. Then we're intentionally asking to help make the change and the transformation in people's lives.
Yep. And then people will respond. They will. They see you. They feel you. It's something that they're going to do. This is a simple referral script. Here it says, "Hey John, quick question. You know how we just solved your retirement income problem, or what? You fill that in, whatever that is. You know how we solved that problem with this IUL. I'm looking to help 2 to 3 more business owners just like you, or 2 to 3 more individuals just like you this month. This month." And then you can say, "Can you help me?" Because people love to help people. They love when you ask for help. If you ever been lost or seen someone lost, sometimes you automatically want to go and help them out. There's a guy that was getting he put money in a vending machine. This happened today. Put money in a vending machine, and he couldn't figure out how to open the door. It felt like it was locked. What did I do? I'm walking past, and I turn around to help the guy, help them open the door. Right? It was just like almost a natural instinct. People want to help. So when you do that, use it to your advantage. Who do you know who's also concerned about their taxes eating up their retirement? If it was a pain point for them, chances are it might be a pain point for someone else, right? So you find out, perfect. Would you mind sending them a text right now to introduce me? This is a key. You don't just write their name down. There's a lot of people. How many out there just get the referral, write it down, and then bye bye, guys. We'll see you later. How many of you do that? Be honest. Because sometimes I do it still. And I know the technique, right? But no, we don't just get the referral. You say, hey, look, do you mind sending them a text right now and introduce me? I'm telling you, try it out. Try it out. You're gonna be surprised at your response rate. It's gonna go up. Do you mind sending them a text right now and just introduce me? And they send the text. Hey, you can tell them what to text. Hey, I just got done with a policy with a guy named Eddie or a lady named Tiffany, and they really helped me out, and I thought about you. Boom. Now they've made initial contact. Now when you call them, I'm calling Susan. Yes, Susan. Jennifer, she sent you a text about me. Oh yeah, you're the guy that helped her with the blah blah blah, whatever you put in the text. You already have a warm. You're warm now. It's not like a cold lead anymore. Because sometimes even a referral can be cold if you haven't reached out to them, and the person that referred them to you or referred you to them hasn't reached out to them either. So you're almost calling a cold call. It's gonna warm up once they know that you got their number from their friend, but it'd be better for them to have already known about you. You're gonna get further with that. So take that one, run with it. The follow-up system, we talk about that. 30 days. Once that policy's written, how many of you online actually follow up with your clients 30 days after their policy is written, after they've funded it and they're active? If you haven't done it, start doing it.
Absolutely.
If you haven't done it, start doing it. 30 days after that policy, put it in your calendar, put it on your Zoom, put it in whatever, Google Calendar, whatever you got to do. I am going to call this client. And you call them. Hey, just checking in to see how things are going for you. I'm going great. Yeah, you had your first payment that just came out. Yeah, it did. Okay, great. Everything's going smooth. By the way, I'm still looking for referrals. And ask again. Ask again, right? 90 days. 90 days. Send them a little gift. Send them a $5 gift card from Starbucks. There's no rule against that. Send them, hey, I just wanted to treat you to a cup of coffee.
That'll also help with your chargebacks, because if you touch base with them after that 30 days,
That's
they may
true.
have questions regarding that billing.
Yeah.
And if that gives you an opportunity to call into the company and make any type of, split payment arrangement, or, maybe they want to change the due date, because a lot of times people's policies lapse just because they didn't have contact and they didn't want to bother their agent. So
Yeah.
definitely touch base.
Yeah, definitely. So these touch points are also going to help you build your business. Not only are you going to be more in touch with your client is going to feel like, wow, they care about me. It's 30 days and they're reaching out to me. 90 days, you send them a gift in the mail. Don't, send it in the mail. Like put it in an envelope and put, hey, thank you. Thanks for being my client, whatever. I just wanted to give you a cup of coffee. Like it's going to be night and day how that person looks at you. And then when you ask them for referrals, they're like, any day, anybody, right? They're going to gush it out to you, right? And then annually, you definitely want to reach out to your clients annually. Annually, this is something that new that I'm doing within this year, is having a client appreciation event where I invite all my clients. Everyone brings a guest, right? That are local. Now I know that some clients are in other states or whatever. You can't necessarily invite them, but you have an appreciation for your local clients, and everyone brings a guest. Nice. Everyone brings a guest, right? And be consistent. Consistency beats perfection all the time. If you can do something consistently, every time you get a new client, that 30 days later, you reach out to them, 90 days later, you give them a gift. $5 is not going to take a lot out of you, right? Or whatever the gift is. Maybe it's just a card. But do something for that person within that 90 days, in that 90-day window, and watch what happens with your business. Watch how people start responding to you, because now you're top of mind. You don't want to be the last person that person thinks about when someone dies, or when someone runs into a problem where they need to get some kind of insurance or even health, whatever it is. You don't want to be the last person they think about. You want to be the first person. Oh yeah, I know the perfect person for you. Because they may run across somebody that's asking questions. Maybe they're at a party and they say, "Man, who's your agent?" You don't want them to be like, "I don't know who my agent is. I don't even know their name." You want your clients to know who you are in a big way. You want them to know, I know that first and last name of my agent. Yes, that's the position you want to put yourself in, because it's really going to make a difference. Amy, really quickly, Amy, we're almost done
I,
here.
I I have an idea of what I'm going to try to do um, when I here in a little bit when I finally get position right. And what I'm gonna try to do is go to a business owner and ask them if I'll try to help them with employee benefits, and then ask if I could set up time, like maybe twice a week for a couple hours to be in the business there. But their employees can come and ask for tax advice, and then that way I could give them, answer their questions, whatever they have, and then give them my business card and try to get, for them outside of work.
That's a good one. I mean, activate it. You got to get in the owners, the business owners' comfort zones, and
Right,
sometimes that's the most difficult thing, because finding what time they're going to be there, finding when they're not busy, what's the best time to actually sit down with them or make a conversation with them.
right,
Getting past that doorkeeper. There's a lot of
right,
things that you kind of, a lot of fences that you kind of have to go through, or obstacles that you get over, but it can be done. It can be done. I think
right.
great suggestion. So three
Thank you.
three key takeaways. All right, use your three closes consistently. Assumption: think about his spouse. Practice them. Practice them with your agents. Practice them with with your family members. Practice them so that you're well versed at it. Ask for referrals, and the right time, as we know, is any time. It's not just the right time, but really when you've written that policy and that person's excited, that's a golden moment, right? Um, and get the introductions now. When you're getting referrals, don't wait. Don't have, right, I got the three numbers. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. No. Do me a favor. Can you text these three individuals for me and just introduce them to me? Introduce me to them. Take just a few seconds to text, right? We all text anyway. So they're going to text, right? And right after they text, you're going to make contact with those referrals. Hey, I just was with, you know, Shirley, and she sent you a text. Did you get the text? Oh yeah, I did get the text. Oh great. You're oh yeah, that's who I yeah, that's me. And boom, go from there. Right? So start using these today. Hopefully you guys got something out of this evening. We're right at about the top of the hour, and I'm gonna close it out. But thank you. If you have any questions before I close, before we end it, if you have any questions or any last minute statements that you want to share, now's the time to do it.
No,
All
you just
right.
did a great job, though, Eddie. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being on. Thank you. Happy New Year to all you guys.
Happy
Let's
New
blow this
Year.
thing up.
Happy
Let's
New
blow this
Year.
thing up. I'm excited, man. I'm like, let's go.
Let's go.
I'm excited.
Absolutely.
We are gonna have an awesome year this year. I did better last year than I did the year before, and that's my goal, is to beat myself. I'm gonna beat myself this year. So, if you beat yourself, you're improving. If you beat yourself what you did last year with your agency, with your policies, with the number of people you talk to, with coming out of that shell, if you beat yourself last year, you're gonna have an awesome year. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to all y'all just succeeding and blowing this thing out of the water. So, having said that, y'all have a great evening, and let's pack this call out on next Tuesday. Let's pack it out. Let's make it a goal, right? I know sometimes we make goals, but let's make it a goal to try to bring two people on, just two. right? Even if it's they've already been on. Hey, just come on for grins and giggles. I don't care. Let's pack the call out, right? Let's shock Raza and Imrana. Everybody like, man, what's 70 people on this call? What's going on? Them agents are fired up. Let's do it.
Let's get some.
Why not, right? What do we got to lose? Well, what do we got to lose, right? We don't have nothing to lose. We have everything to gain. So let's pack this call out. Let's get those agents that are sitting by the roadside, kind of ducking around the corner. Let's get them involved. Let's say, come to the call. Get fired up. Listen, let's make this thing happen, and we'll see the results. May not be tomorrow, but it's gonna come. Keep on pushing. All right. Well, y'all have a great evening, and we'll talk to you on the next time. Take care.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Y'all come back now. You hear?
Thank you.